So I have to admit, I had a whole different plan in store for this week's video. It's already made, it was ready to go, but you know, so much stuff is hitting the fan around the coronavirus, and definitely in my life, it's affecting me on a deep level. So I want to talk about it. I want to talk about how to manage stress during the coronavirus from my perspective. And you know, what I want to say, first of all, just to start things off, is that yes, these last couple of days have seen so much news around the virus, and like in ways and life-changing kind of ways, at least here in North America and really in Europe, and I think now we're seeing it around the world on levels that no one has seen in our lifetime, all these kinds of disruptions. And I can't help but want to go online, read about it, and read the news and see what's the next thing, or just kind of like wonder in my mind all the time, like what is coming next. And you know, and then more locally, I went to, you know, stock up on some things because this is the reality about being prepared now. You never know if you're going to be in your house for a little while, and sure, you know, store shelves are emptying in a way that I've certainly never seen. And you know, by the end of the day yesterday, whether I knew it or not, and I suppose I knew it, but I was definitely stressed and feeling the effects of my own choices and feeling the effects of what's going on here in the world. I had a sleep that was going along just fine until all of a sudden, like I was just having this really vivid dream, I think around the virus, and then woke up at like 4:45 in the morning and was up for a couple hours before I fell back asleep to get a little bit more sleep, and then realized, holy cow, I'm really affected by this. And I'm sure if you're watching this, you know, I'm not alone, you're not alone. We're kind of all affected by what's going on right now. And you know, and it really inspired me, therefore, to make a video around stress, around the coronavirus, about what we can do to help ourselves in this time, and what I'm doing, and if there's anything that I'm doing that I can offer to you, you know, that's what I'm here to share with you. So number one, and I guess in my life, you know, this is one global event of mass proportions, but I've had some pretty life-changing events between death and loss and breakups and changing my whole life around, kind of blowing my life up or having it blow up, that whole kind of thing. And I suppose from all of those experiences, one guiding principle that I take to heart when things like this are happening, and I feel like right now is a big time to embody and embrace that principle, would be the idea of, you know, it's really important to, I guess, understand like what are the things that you're in control of and what you can be in control of, and what are the things that are beyond your control. And I suppose that actually is very similar to the serenity kind of principle. And it's so funny because I really wanted a big mug. I've been wanting one for a while, and I went out literally like 3 days ago to find one in a store, and here it was. So, you know, I'm just gonna read it because I think it's really important. And it says, "God, grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference." So yeah, knowing what you can change and what you cannot change, and having, you know, having a really engaged dialogue with yourself, I think around this is really important. And for me, number one, I think on this list is just like, how much exposure do I want to have to the news? I do think it's important to be educated and to kind of know what's going on, and even like hold space for a planet, for communities, for society, for people beyond my everyday life who are certainly going through a lot right now, and the news can offer that. But I guess it's the same kind of principle around the news as you could have around like all aspects of the coronavirus, in terms of like what are good practical choices, what are good choices for you, for your family, versus like where is that line that descends or kind of goes into panic. And And I guess that's it. You know, I think we all have to ask ourselves that question and know that if you can't stop thinking about the virus and about and just worrying and fear and etc. And I can't speak to each of you, of course, like where does that line kind of cross into panic, but you can, you know, and it should be a conversation, I think, that you have with yourself to know, you know, when am I just wanting to be informed? When am I wanting to hold space? When is the energy that's flowing through me around this feel like it's productive and helpful and good planning and good support and things on that level, versus like real worry and into like that, you know, again, like making choices around what you can control and just accepting that there are things that are kind of beyond your control. And when you're trying to control the things that are beyond your control, that I think is where that kind of panic kind of reaction and response can take over. And there are some good things that we know about this virus, you know, which is, and I guess having that good information is really important. And, you know, just today, just before I started making this video, I read a headline, I read an article that said that there are some researchers in Canada who have isolated really important components of the virus. And, you know, that's not necessarily going to help people today, but as far as like developing better tests, better vaccines, and it's been like this collaboration around with scientists that are around the world. So I'm posting a link down below and up above, and you can see a little screenshot of it. And this is in today's news. You know, you can see that people are rallying together, and that there is still a togetherness. We are in this kind of togetherness, kind of energy that exists in the world. And when we want to just kind of bring in information into ourselves around the separation and the division and the panic and the fear, we should know that there's choice in there. And we need to embrace that, I think, and embody that choice and know that we're making that choice and hold space for that, because there's good reasons why we do that. And I'm not here to disparage that or put that down. But again, like I said, if we want to like be proactive and productive and healthy around our choices, but really also for ourselves, like I said, kind of like being in control of what you can be in control of. And your own health at this time is probably the number one thing. And really that's what most motivates me to make a video like this, that we all have an immune system. You know, it's estimated that this virus is going around and people are coming into contact with people. We don't know who may already be carrying this virus or have it on their hands or some kind of way and have the potential to spread it. Of course, we don't know that. And especially if you're like here in the United States like I am, and you know that there's been just so few tests going around for the number of people who have potentially come into contact in this virus, it's scary stuff. But again, going into like what scares you about it, you know, that's only going to take you so far, versus using your own skills, using your own talents, using your own choices to kind of really be in control of what you can be in control of. And your own health has got to be like number one. And I'm going to post another link to one of the sources that I've been referring to for really great, helpful kind of tips. Her name is Dr. Lisa Rankin. So again, you can see that there, and I'm going to post a link down below. You know, and she's a doctor, and she's also a holistic practitioner and leader in the field. So, you know, you're going to get it from her from multiple kind of points of view. And I think that, yes, we all know about the washing of our hands. We all know of just trying not to come into close contact with people. But, you know, your immune system is your first defense and your number one defense. And this is a virus. And this is a virus that may be spreading, but we can surmise, you know, and again, I'm not making any promises. I don't know. All I know is like what I can be in control of is having the strongest immune system I can possibly have. And eating healthy foods is, of course, a very obvious and very important part of that. But eating healthy thoughts and having healthy thoughts and kind of having, you know, your own relationship to your mind that is healthy and as healthy as you can make it is also incredibly vital. In fact, our immune system, there is so much research and we know that it is weakened by stress and by stress responses and by, it's very normal to have a stress response. It's like a burst, like an animal out in the wild that's being attacked. It has a burst of a stress response, and then if it can escape from its predator, the thing that's kind of attacking it, then almost, instantly it continues back to where it was before. Where stress responses can really be damaging to our immune system is when they get into these loops, like we have the potential to be in right now. So this is where I'm coming from my heart, because I know that, okay, for me personally, I'm in it. And I'm someone who's really dedicated so much of my life to understanding that and to making healthy choices that help me to counter that stress response and to then live the best life possible. And I'm coming to you from that place to really say, like, okay, well, what can we do to help our stress? And number one is meditate. I meditated this morning, and a good 45 minutes to an hour of meditation for me this morning, and it really changed everything. And it allowed for my stress response to get to come down significantly. And how did that happen? It was very interesting, because in my meditation this morning, most of that time I'm just noticing my stress, and I'm noticing those thoughts that kind of feel like they're spinning out of control. But the fact is, I could notice them. And maybe that's where you're at. Maybe you're in that same place that I was at, that you're trying to be centered or balanced or whatever that means. And, I kind of don't even want to get into those kind of specific details. But actually, just the fact that you can notice where you're at is a really important meditation. And then if it hurts, if it's a struggle, like, you honor that. You're not trying to necessarily change where you're at. You honor where you're at. But at some point in my meditation, personally for me today, was recognizing I need help, because I can't kind of get out of this loop that's in my brain. Usually what I can do, I breathe, and I was doing this here, and just, I can find a real comfort and a real kind of like anchor in my breath, and it helps me to shift from that part of my brain that creates that stress response into a whole other part of my brain that triggers the relaxation response. And that, that I've come to identify is really like my connection to spirit, my connection to self, my connection to something deeper and bigger than what I think I am, if I think I am that small me and that small self. But I could not access that this morning, So for me, it was really important to say, hey, I need help. And so I had like this internal prayer that says okay, this is beyond me, and spirit and whatever you want to call it, I need some help today to anchor and to find myself, and can you help me? And I think that asking for help, whether that's on the inside or on the outside, so things like talking to your friends, talking to your family, reaching out, saying this is starting to feel like too much for me. The fact that you share it and don't just hold it in can also be just such a great relief and release for your own stress and your own stress response. And I know that for me, I could feel it towards the end of that meditation. In fact, it was really interesting. Probably, in the last 2 minutes of that meditation, I was asking for help, and then I had a timer go off, which I usually do so that I don't just meditate forever and I don't think when is it over yet. I know that there's a timer that's going to take me out of my meditation. Anyways, the timer went off, and so therefore I moved my body to turn that timer off, and I could feel that change in me between where I started. I'm like, oh, this is actually having a pretty dramatic impact around being able to actually get back to some relaxation response, to feeling much more calm and much more centered in myself right now. And so I'm like, well, I actually am going to meditate a little bit more so that maybe I can nurture that a little bit more. And then I started having an inner dialogue around what's possible, and that's become a regular part of my meditation these days, where I have it is possible that, and just kind of fill in the blanks. And it's possible that we're finding cure for coronavirus. It is possible that I have amazing health. It is possible that I have so much love to share and so much love to give. It is possible that, and you can kind of go on, and certainly the whole idea is to fill your energy, fill your space up around what is positively possible, what you're capable of, and what you're capable of receiving to help you shift. And that was really dramatic and really powerful for me as well. So, so that's why I say meditating regularly, I think, is one of the best things within your control to help manage your stress response. And you do that, of course, for your overall health and your overall well-being, your ability to get good things done in the world, but certainly also to strengthen your own immune system and really just kind of take care of yourself from the inside out that way. And I've actually made a video around why daily meditation is kind of like the most important choice you can make. So, again, I'm going to post a link to that one below if you want to keep checking things out. And if you're in a time right now where you're going to be in some kind of more isolating period, where you're going to be home more, maybe with your kids or with your family or even by yourself, I do think it's important to not, I guess, keep making healthy choices at home. And like, for example, my website, this website has all kinds of practices that you can do, all kinds of massage practices, all kinds of meditation practices that you can do for yourself, but also with loved ones, so that we're not just going on screens for X number of hours in a day and kind of getting caught up in that kind of rabbit hole or things like that, that we can still connect with people, and we just do it in a smart way. So sure, if you're going to massage your loved one or your partner, I think it's really important you wash your hands, you ask them to wash their hands before you start. And you do it on a surface that is removable, so that when you're done, you can change the sheet or whatever it may be, and that, and then just be aware of where your face is in contact or in relation to their face. So, because if you feel like you're really concerned about spreading a virus or catching this virus from your loved one, then sure, just be behind them and do a back massage that way, massage the feet, etc. There are still so many things that you could do to touch and connect and be with your partner. And if you are going to be home for more time and you're going to be with family members and you're very close, kind of next to community for a lot more time, I actually think this is a perfect time to learn some massage together, because we're all in some of this uncharted territory, and there is some fear that is building, and it's probably going to come in waves and things like that. And being in contact, being in touch, knowing that I can do this for you and it helps you instantly to feel better, and you can do this for me and you can help me to feel better, and let's again be in charge of the things that we can be in charge of and help each other out. It's dramatic. It's really important. And therefore, I'm really, I feel like I'm really blessed to be in this position of having made like well over 100 videos that are here, that are free on YouTube, that you can be checking out and you can be learning from and incorporating and hopefully using to help calm your nervous system, to help calm yourself, to help manage whatever stress you're going with, and then also for your family and for your friends, and to connect with them and to do those kinds of good things as well. So I wanted to share here. I do feel like there's plenty more that I have to say around loving touch, around the loving touch and coronavirus right now, and around stress. So there's a good chance that my videos for the next little while are probably going to be related to this. So I would love for you to check back and see other ways that I can help support, and if there's anything else that I can do for you, that's my pleasure. And I encourage you to post your comments, post your questions below, and know that we're all here together, and let's have some love, let's have some connection in whatever way it feels right to connect, whether that is energetically, and like right now I'm just sending so much love to you, to your family members, for anything that you may be going through as you're dealing with this in your circle, in your sphere. And I feel it coming right back to me too. And let's connect and let's talk soon. Wishing you a peaceful and a good day. Namaste.